So today I'm going to talk about what a website is to help me be more scalable in my mentoring. Sometimes people that are quite beginner stages, then this is going to be very helpful for them. So this is also for anybody that's an absolute knows nothing about websites. If you're expecting one of my normal hard coding videos, then this is not the video series for you. So anyway, one of the reasons that I want to sit down and explain what a website is and some of the coding and how to get into programming is because I'm passionate about mentoring, as you can see from this site here, which is a website. So a website, in the most basic sense, is a series of files that you download from the internet, from a server, which is part of the internet, and it gets downloaded into your computer, and then those files are opened up inside of a program that can understand how to display them. So normally that program would be something like a web browser. So for this example, you can see Chrome, and Chrome has opened up this website. So let's move back a bit and just talk about what exactly is a web page. So in order for me to explain that, I'm actually going to create a web page on a computer. Now, to make a website on your computer, all you need to do is just create a file on your computer and give it an extension, which is the file name .something, and then you can open up in the browser. So I'm just going to use a program here called WebStorm to create a project, and then I'm going to create an HTML file inside of the project. Now you don't need a program like WebStorm because you can on your operating system you can just create a new file with however way you know how to create a file. If you know how to create a file, then you can create this file. But I'm just going to use WebStorm because it's an easy way for me to just look at the files and edit them. You can do it with a basic text editor, but that's not very much fun. You can also use things like Visual Studio Code, which is free. You can download that and you can open up. So basically I've created this new project and I'm just going to right click on this folder. Now in Windows you can go in Explorer and you can just right click new file using Windows Explorer. Macintosh, there isn't even a way to create a new file like that. It's like kind of expected to use a terminal, or you use a program like this. The terminal is like the thing where you go in here and you write all these commands, which is probably too advanced for this beginner tutorial, but I get quite excited quite quick about software, so then I just jump around a bit. But let me try and be back to basics. So we're going to create our first website, right? And it's just going to be one page. So we're going to create a new HTML file, and HTML5, okay? I'm just going to call this test. So we've got this .html file. Now if you don't have a way to create new HTML files in whatever program you're using, you can actually just go to create a new file, and if you give it the name .html, so we'll do test2 and .html on whatever system you're using, then it's the same way as creating an HTML file, nothing special about it. So if you click on this file, I'm just going to delete all this stuff in here before I scare you, and I'm just going to write hello world, right? And that's just typically for any programming language. When you're creating your first thing, you'd write hello world. And what we can do is once we have this file saved, and in this program WebStorm it's saved automatically, you can take this file and you can open it up in the web browser. What you can normally do is you can just go to however you navigate the files, and you can just right click, open in Explorer, or open in Finder as it is in the Mac. So I'm just going to open this show in Explorer. I've forgotten where that is because I hardly ever used that feature. Open in Finder. Okay. So we've got this two files here, and just using the operating system, we can right click on it and we can go to open with, and it's given a list of programs here, but we can just open up in Chrome. It's just the default, and we can see here that wow, we've actually created a website. This here is just as much a website as my startupmentorcv.com or any other website or the BBC News. This here is a website. I can now call myself a web developer. I have created something. Now, normally in web pages, you don't just write like the text in there straight away. It's normally we want to have some programming features that kind of give the browser or the program that's using the web page, the HTML file, some more power. And so we're just going to actually do this here, and this is where it's going to start to scare people that have never done programming before. Now programming in a sense is just telling a computer a series of instructions. So even just this very basic HTML files we have here, this is a computer program. What this is actually doing, it's telling any file system or program or browser to print this line. It's just going to look at this file, it's going to see this text here, and it's going to understand that it's going to print these words. And if we just go back to our page here, I'm just going to move this back into here like this. Right? The browser has looked at this file and it's interpreted it, and interpretation is to display these words on the top left hand side of the screen like that. Okay, so let's go back to this. Now we want to add some more structure to this page. So what we can do, in HTML we have these things called tags, and a tag in a sense is something that describes what type of text or what type of object is to be displayed at this current time. Now at the moment the browser is looking at this text here and it's just interpreting it as text by itself. There's no structure around it. What we can do is we create these tags, and tags, you can use these characters, the arrows on your keyboard, if you push shift comma or shift dot, and if you write P, then you can then write that second part of the tag, which is a forward slash like that. And because I'm using WebStorm, once I write this first bit here, it will actually autocomplete and add this bit here. So if we move this words in here inside of this, we're now telling the browser that this is a paragraph, it's special. So if we go back to our browser here, we can see that we have the text the same as before, but what's happening is that because by default there's no tag, it's sort of assuming that it has the same font style as the paragraph. Now to see this differently, what we can do is we can just duplicate this line here, and we can add another special element, and we can change this P to an H1, which means heading 1, which is normally the largest size heading you can get on the browser. So if we just go back to our web page and we refresh the page, we see it's much bigger. So in a sense, what we've done here, we've got an advanced web page now. We have a paragraph and we have a heading, and that is the browser looks at this and then it knows how to display it. So what we can do also is that we can right click on the page here and we can actually inspect the source code, which is a pretty cool feature. And we can see that the browser inside of this elements panel, if you're using Chrome, normally if you're using Firefox, Internet Explorer, you can also do similar stuff. But as you can see here, we can hover over them and we can see that this is a paragraph and this is a heading 1. And if we look in the right hand side here, there's this styles section, which is showing the sort of default styles. Now styles we'll get onto in a later video, but styles are in a sense the way that the browser knows how to display each one of these elements. And so if we click on this paragraph here, we can see that we have these sizes. Don't worry about what they are right now, but this is the information about how you display the paragraph. And if you click on the heading, we can see that there's other default styles that are applied to it. And so this has got a font size of 2, and then that one there has doesn't even have a default size, but it is something like, I think it'll be 1. So we can also do a heading 2, and we can look at what that looks like. So I'm just going to duplicate this line here, and you can see that why I like to use WebStorm is that I can do sort of cool things like that, jump around using keyboard shortcuts. For those that are interested, I just pressed Command D and it will duplicate the current line for me. So I'll go back to the web page, and we're just going to look at this H2 here, and we can see that this is a font size of 1.5, and that's just a default styling that all the browsers have for different elements. So what have we learned right now? We've basically learned that there's 2 elements. We can have a paragraph elements and we can have heading elements, and there's also heading 1 and heading 2 element. So let's just go back to our other file here, and well, let's just delete this, because normally for websites, there's not just only these paragraphs and headings. What we normally do is we wrap up, and it's actually you're expected to write this. The web page can have a head and a body. Now this confused me the first time I heard of websites, and back in the day, and I think it took me several months to get the courage to go back to looking at making websites again, because it was so scary to me. Obviously now I've been doing websites for 12 years, I don't even notice remember almost what it was like not to make a web page. But let me just show you. So basically, what normally I have, and I can never remember exactly how you structure these things, so I'm just going to copy and paste what we have here into a new file. So new HTML file, and we'll call this test2. And what it does now is now it starts to get scary, I know, but we're programmers, we're learning to be programmers here. So let me just break this down for you. So in a sense, if we want this new page to have the same content as it was in this old test file, all I'm going to do, I'm just going to take this code here and we're going to paste it inside of the body section. Now before that we do that, I'm just going to open up this in Chrome, and a little feature of WebStorm is pretty cool. What you can do is you can I can hover over the file here like this, and it'll just open in Chrome like that. Click on it. Now we can see here the page is empty, right? So we just open up the source code. We can see that there's basically nothing inside of the body. So this is the body here. Now we're going to take our original code. I'm just going to paste it in here, and we're going to look at what it looks like in the browser now. So I'm just going to take this code and put it in the separate window here so we don't get too confused. So pretty much it's exactly the same, right? Let's check the sizes are the same. So what is this new page doing? Well, at the current moment it's not actually doing anything extra except it's providing a title. So we'll just do this, we'll just put title Nikos right here. What that does is it tells the browser that this page now is got a title. So this is what's called metadata in a sense. It's inside of the head of the page. The head is not for visual information, it's information about the page. And so this title Nikos doesn't appear inside of the body of the page, it appears on other parts. So basically here it appears in the tab. If it's in a PlayStation 4, it would appear like you can save it as a bookmark, and it would appear as Untitled Nikos on the bookmark of the page. So that in a sense is the difference between head and body. Now of course there's a whole bunch of other different things you can put in the head, there's a whole bunch of other things we can put in the body, but that's really as much as I want to talk about for this video right now. So what have we learned? Basically each web page has a head and a body, and also I forgot to mention that we also wrap the whole web page inside of this HTML tag, which again your browser isn't forced, you aren't forced to write this to have your web page work, but it's just expected that you write HTML, and also this doc type HTML as well, which is just always there. It's one of those sort of legacy things that came from the past where you had these doc types different. It's basically beyond the scope of this video. Basically, for every web page you do, you need this doc type there, you need this head wrap tags, and you need a head and a body, and that in a sense is a web page. Thank you for watching. Any comments, please leave below in the comment section. Leave a like, share, subscribe. That would be great. Bye bye.